Hello, hello, hello. I am so happy to be on this evening. I've been out of town for the last 4 weeks. It's such um, a good feeling to be back here with you guys. Um, Dr. Heather Henley here, um, and I'm so excited just to be talking all things deliverance. We are in the month of May, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I don't know about you, but what I do know is that we definitely need to be in a place where we are putting our mental psyche in the forefront. And so it is important that we kind of just recognize where we are and, identify things that are just going on with us. So I'm just excited to be here. So I would love for you definitely to let me know where you are coming in from. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my computer. And so, hey, I'm so happy to see you, Lakia. Welcome to Deliverance Hacks on this evening. And hey, how you doing, Elder Shanique? It's so good to see you talking all things deliverance. So definitely drop in, share this video, share it to your to individuals. I am currently sharing this video to just some individuals since we are live right now. So I'm gonna take a second just to share this to just some of the people that is on my let me take a moment and just share. I hope you guys have had an amazing Wednesday. We are half of the way through. Hey, Prophetess Wanda, thanks for joining. We are half of the way through the week already. And I'm hoping that because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, that you have been intentional on making sure that you do some level of self-care or making sure that you are just taking care of yourself. It is definitely key and important. And with just everything, hey, Minister Sherry, how are you? It is just really important that we take this time to really care for ourselves. I love that, they distinguish a month, right, for us to be intentional on making sure that we have good mental acuity, right? That our mental psyche is moving, that it is healthy, that things are going well. So I am definitely excited about that. For those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Heather Henley. I've been in the field of psychology, counseling, mental health for over 22 years. I love what I do. And I believe the spirit and natural are parallel. All this month, I will be having two things going on. So on Tuesdays, I will be having therapy at the altar And I have a speaker that is coming in every every Tuesday. Hey Valerie, good to have you here. A speaker coming in every Tuesday, just to talk about mental health and just to talk about just all things deliverance, all things for emotional stability. And on this past Tuesday, we had none other than Pastor Bev Tucker. And so she did an amazing job with getting us together, letting us know just about our souls being in a place of captivity and how we are broken into fragments and into pieces. But what I love about God is that He will reveal some things to you. He will allow you to know things that you are dealing with. And then He will show you how to pull it all back together. Because listen, He is the restorer of the broken. And so I just love God. So we are definitely excited for what is happening during this month. The other thing is that starting in September, Soul Restoration International Ministries will be doing deliverance services once a month. Once a month. And so I definitely have those dates. We're going to do it in September, October, November, and then we're going to have a New Year's Eve service, December 31st. So I am super, super excited about what is coming outside of going to the Dominican Republic next month. I will be there for a total of 3 months, and I will be doing a ministry there. And so, listen, I want you guys to partner with me. I am going to be having a fundraiser on next Friday in order to raise money for the things that I need to do while in the Dominican. And so I'm really, really excited about that. I'm excited about what's happening. How many of you know that deliverance is everywhere? And so not only do the Lord want us to be delivered, healed, whole, and set free here because it's our birthright, but there are also other countries where the Lord is wanting us to be delivered. And so He is sending out men and women. He's sending out apostles and prophets, teachers. He's sending out prophets. He's sending out evangelists. He's sending out even kingdom driven individuals, doctors. He's sending out individuals to even help those who are having difficulties or struggles, even in their countries. And so what I've learned about the Dominican is that they don't have a lot of counsel, and they need places for the families to go, especially those dealing with domestic violence and things of that nature. So the Lord is kind. So I am just excited about that. So I just wanted to share just a little bit just about what is happening and what is going on. But I am excited about deliverance is your birthright. I was so stirred on yesterday at therapy at the altar. And so I want to continue to talk about just some of those things that we're just kind of working through. And so one of the things that I found to be amazing was that with deliverance being our birthright, and just even filtering or going through or dealing with some of the strongholds or those things that cause our soul to be locked up, or to be in covenant, or to be in a place where we feel that we can't break free from, or even to be in covenant with some of these things such as, we talked about occults, or even soul ties, or even, our jobs and circumstances and the different traumas and things that we've experienced. What we talked about, which is what I talk about a lot in therapy, is, when individuals experience a level of trauma, when they go through something, what happens is there's a part in your brain in the I can't even get my thoughts together. In the hippocampus, in the limbic region of the brain, where the hippocampus, the frontal lobe, and the amygdala is located in that region. But when trauma comes in the hippocampus, it stops growing at the time of onset, right? And what Pastor Bev was talking about on yesterday, she was talking about how when individuals experience something and they are going through things, when you're walking a person through deliverance, that we have to sometimes go back to the onset. Now, as a clinician, we deal with onset, duration, and frequency, right? And so when we are dealing with trauma, at the time that it happened, that's when the hippocampus stopped growing. And so a lot of times that is the onset of the vulnerability, or the onset when it happens. But when a person is getting delivered, and we do this in therapy all the time. When we are walking a person through, or when we are unpacking, right? We call it unpacking naturally, but it's deliverance, right? When we're walking them through deliverance spiritually, we have to take them back to the onset. We have to unpack it and walk them out of it. But when we walk them out of it, we have to now cause the cognitive to now catch up with chronological. And so what she talked about, which I was so excited, she talks about establishing them, or reintegrating them back to themselves. So what she's saying is, if it happened at age 5 and they are 25, we now have to cognitively or reintegrate them back from age 5 to 25. So we have to go age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because that was when that the hippocampus stopped growing. And listen, what happens is, there's those times, you all, when you interact with individuals and situations occur, right? And all of a sudden, they revert back to a little boy or a little girl, right? Because that was the time when the trauma happened. It happened at that age. So what happens is, when they're triggered, that fragment pulls that feeling back that they got at age 5. And now they're functioning from a place of the past of that age 5. They're functioning from that place. The feeling, the emotion that they're having is coming from that place. And so when you walk them out, right, when you unpack them, when you allow them to know that what you're experiencing is nothing but a fragment from your past, and now we have to bring you out of that place, right? We have to bring you out of that place so that you can now presently be in the moment. Oh, you guys gonna catch this. Listen, I had a client. I get excited about it. I had a client. And so a lot of time, what happened was, my client was assaulted in the bathroom, right? In the bathtub, she was assaulted. And so every time that she would get in the bathtub, we would have these ongoing psychotic breakdowns. She would want to try to hurt herself. She would try to hurt others. She would cut on herself. She would just do all these different things, right? And so, in order to bring her out of the place that she was in, we had to deal with what happened in the bathtub and the age. And so as we were able to deal with it, then we were able to now bring her to the place that she was in, bring her to that adult place. And so what I found is, because of strongholds, right? That's your perception. Some of us are dealing with these places of arrested development. Oh, what am I saying? They are dealing with these places of being brought back to the trauma or brought back to the onset of when the issue happened or the situation happened. And so now it has become the stronghold. It has become what controls them, what governs them. And it is that place of arrested development. It is that place of immaturity. It is that place where we have to now unpack or walk them out of that place of vulnerability so that they can now meet up with the current self. They can now meet up with everything that they're experiencing now. They can now bring that arrested development, right? That age 5. We can bring that age 5 up to speed now with the fact that every high thing that tries to exalt itself against the very knowledge of God, that we bring it under captivity, that we bring it under submission. So now that 5-year-old little girl, right? That 5-year-old little boy, now we can take him from 5 and he can now intersect. He can collide. You're right. He can collide with 25 because see, 25 now knows that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, called according to his purpose. What now age 5 can collide with age 25 that know that every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, against who he is, against what he said, now it collides with 25, and now 25 can speak to age 5. Oh, y'all gonna catch a hold. Listen, when we are talking about deliverance, when we are talking about bringing individuals out of a place of unresolved issues, bringing an individual out of a place of that unchallenged sin, bringing individuals out of a place of rebellion. Hey, Prophet Raymond. Hey, Yvonne, how are you? Good to guys have you on. Listen, when we are talking about coming out of that place of these distorted thinking patterns that individuals deal with based on experiences or based on circumstances, or when we're talking about evil foreboding. What is evil foreboding? Evil foreboding is nothing but those thoughts that continue to ruminate, right? Catastrophic thinking is what we call it in psychology, but in the word, in the Bible, they called it evil foreboding. That means that you take a thought and you begin to run on it. You build up on it. I mean, how many of you have been in these situations that all of a sudden, for instance, you can't find someone, or you can't deal with with an individual, and then you begin to ruminate, you fantasize, right, about a situation. Listen, I'll raise my hand. I've been there. I've dealt with catastrophic thinking or evil foreboding, right? I've been there, done it. My son was in a car accident. And so he almost died, but the Lord is kind. He is good. And so, but what was interesting about this whole situation is that when it happened, I could not get in touch with him. And so because I could not get in touch with him, it caused me to have a level of post-traumatic, right? So now what happens is, anytime I call a friend, or anytime I call someone, or my children, let me say my children, anytime I call them and I can't get in touch with them, listen, evil foreboding happens for the saints, for the believers. Evil foreboding happens. What is evil foreboding? What happens is, it triggers me back to the thought of what happened with my son. And so, although it's not happening, but my mind begins to play tricks on me, right? Because evil foreboding is nothing but an encoding of things that I've already seen, things that I've already experienced. And what happens is, because we watch so much TV, because we look at so many things on the news, because we hear so many different issues and life challenges and struggles and things of uncertainty and horror, and we look at all of these things, now evil foreboding takes over. What am I saying? So now I'm like, oh my God, maybe he was in a car accident, maybe something happened to him, or maybe he got pulled over, maybe the police shot him, maybe he's in the hospital, maybe he's in the morgue, I haven't talked to him, something just happened to him, I don't know what's going on, he's not answering the phone. Now I'm calling the morgues, now I'm calling the hospital, I'm calling the jails, because I haven't talked to him, when really what is happening is he's just at home asleep. And his phone is on do not disturb because he just got off of work at 7 o'clock in the morning, because he works overnights. Oh, y'all gonna catch a hold. These are those strongholds. These are the perceptions that govern our thoughts. They govern our ways. They govern how we look at things. And so because of this, it causes us to be in these situations or these circumstances where we are now being attacked or arrested by some of our own thoughts. We are placing ourselves in prisons. We are creating now. We are building a case against ourselves based on our thoughts. And this is why it is important for us to be conscious and be aware really of what we are thinking about. We have to be intentional on thinking about what we're thinking about. And we have to be intentional on making sure that we release some of these thoughts, these distorted thinking patterns that have been created based on life circumstances, or really based on choices that we've made. Listen, some of the fears that I have even now, right? Some of the fears that I deal with now, a lot of individuals know I'm terrified of bugs, y'all. I'm scared of bugs. And a lot of the things that I experience now or that I deal with currently is only because of things that I've seen in the past, or situations that have happened. And so it becomes a stronghold, which now becomes debilitating. Right? It becomes where I'm paralyzed and I feel like I can't move because of situations or circumstances that occurred. And so now, because of these things, I'm terrified of bugs. And it's only based on things that I've seen. Listen, I've seen so many scary movies where they have all of the bugs are crawling on people. Listen, one of my favorite childhood movies was Indiana Jones. And so I don't know if you guys looked at Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones, it definitely dealt with a lot of witchcraft, really. It talked about just the idols, and it was about an adventurer. He was an archaeologist, and he would travel all over the country looking for specific artifacts, and he was studying why the artifacts did what they did, or the artifacts had curses on them. And these artifacts, because they were looking for the artifacts, it would now create situations for them to happen. But even in these artifacts, there were always tons of bugs, and the bugs would bite people. The bugs would be things that were released because of curses, and the bugs would get on the people's bodies and eat them alive. I mean, just ridiculous stuff, you all. And these are the things, and I was a child. These are the things that I would watch. These are the things that I would allow unbeknowing to come into my ear gates, my eye gates. My parents didn't know. My parents, didn't know that they was raising a prophet. My parents didn't know that they were raising a deliverer, one that would go in, right, and be a deliverer for God. They didn't know that, but I would watch all these things, and because of things that I allowed to come into my eye gates, my ear gates, right, because of people, places, things, ideas, choices I've made even as adults, things that I actually had control over. Because of all of these things, now there is a level of fear that has been embedded right into the amygdala. That is the place of imprinting. And so because of these things, they now become what we call those strongholds. And so I'm talking about this, and I'm walking you, I'm unpacking, right? I'm unpacking. I'm bringing you out of this because I want you to understand what is happening. And this is just an example of things that we experience that is connected to the evil foreboding because of things that we have allowed ourselves to come in contact with. So it is going to be important that as we move forward, right? As we move forward as believers, that we are intentional about what we are allowing to come into our environment. Listen, environments are important. I understand that I can shift an environment just by my presence. I understand that when I enter the room, thy kingdom has come. There is an anointing that enters with me. Now, listen, if I'm in a good mood or a bad mood, I am shifting the environment. Please understand that. If I come into the room and my energy is off, if I am in a bad space, if I am not feeling well, I bring that into the space that I am coming into. Have you ever been into a place where you walk into the environment and it just doesn't align with your spirit? It just doesn't align with what's happening with you because of the sensitivity that's on your life. Well, because of where I am now in my life, right? I cannot watch all of the things that I used to watch. I love scary movies. I just can't watch them no more. Not because I'm scared, but because of the place that the Lord is taking me into. I have a different level of sensitivity. And so I have to be intentional now on the things that I do. Listen, I've already been delivered, but in order for me to maintain my deliverance, I have to be intentional on who I entertain. I have to be intentional on things that cause me to be triggered. I have to be intentional on those things. Listen, I was talking to, hey, Prophetess Madeline, Pastor Madeline, thank you for stopping in. But I have to be intentional on who I'm allowing to come, in my ear gates and who I'm connected to. Listen, back in the day, because I'm delivered and free now, I struggled with rejection, right? And so because that was something that I struggled with, it was a stronghold at one point. I am intentional now that I don't put myself in situations and circumstances where I would have to be in a place where I'm being rejected. And so you have to be intentional on knowing what your triggers are. So I definitely know I was being funny. I was talking to a Christian. I was talking to a believer, right? And so we were talking about dating apps. And so now they have these wonderful Christian dating apps. And so I don't know if anyone is single. I don't know if you're on a dating app, but I'm going to talk to you about the dating apps, right? So they have these Christian dating apps. And so I made the joke. I said, listen, there would be no way that I would be getting on a Christian dating app Why? Because I've already struggled with rejection. So I'm not going to put myself in a position where I had to, first of all, reach out to a man and hope that he's going to reach back out to me. Oh, y'all going to catch a hold of this. I'm not going to trigger myself to expect somebody to reach out to me. First of all, the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. Listen, I'm not trying to date. I'm a wife. So I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have to sit and hope that somebody is going to reach out to me. And then now, because it's familiar, right? Because it smells like something that I'm familiar with, that gives the enemy an opportunity to cause me to even feel like I'm rejected. I'm just saying. You have to know, you have to recognize what your triggers are. I need you guys to know that you have to be intentional. And so when we are talking about deliverance, which is your birthright, when we are talking about these strongholds, which is nothing but your perspective, it is nothing but your perception of how you see a thing. When we are talking about that, you have to know what your triggers are. And this is going to be important when you are talking about maintenance. And so I want to just briefly talk about maintenance, just briefly. Maintenance is that, listen, it is easy, everyone. It is easy for us to get delivered because deliverance is a choice. And what the Lord dealt with me several years ago when I was going through, when I was wanting to kill myself, when I was having all these issues in my mind, the enemy was coming from my mind. Look, I'm a whole therapist helping people, and he was coming for me, right? When I was going through, the Lord told me that I needed to walk these 3 C's, which was choices, courage, and change. Deliverance is nothing but the 3 C's. You have to make a choice, right? But the hard part is the courage. Because see, it's about that unknown. Some of us don't know what it would look like or what it would feel like just to have a level of freedom, to have peace, to not be in discord, to not always be in the middle of a situation or a circumstance. Some of us just like a lot of drama. You don't even know what it feels like to not experience drama. So it's the fear of the unknown. That's the courage. But listen, when you overcome the courage and you do it, it changes your life forever. Now listen, it's just that simple. The hard part is the maintenance. Because see, freedom, it is a choice, right? You can choose freedom, but there is a cost for you to be free. Hear me. There is a cost for freedom. The cost that for freedom is that you have to give up some things. That means that your circumstance, your situation, it has to change. No longer can you do some of the same things that you were doing. You have to do some things differently. So listen, freedom is a choice, but it's a cost. It's a cost to it. And so when we're talking about maintenance is important because in order for you to maintain the freedom that you just chose, you have to give up some things. That means that you're going to have to die so that Jesus can live in you, so that the Spirit can live, so that everything around you can live. So you're going to have to give up some things. And a lot of times you don't want to give up things. I had went to Hartsville and I came and I did a deliverance service and it was awesome and amazing. And listen, when I go to churches to do deliverance services at their church, I do a 2-day, right? I do a 2-day. I run them through deliverance the first night, right? But the second day, I ask them to come back and I do coaching, right? I coach them through, I do some crisis coaching. And so the reason why this is important is because we take them through deliverance. They say they want to be delivered. We tell them to come out of the situation. But what happens is the next day they still got to go home with the man or the woman that they sleeping with that they not married to. Oh, y'all go. Oh, are we gonna talk real tonight? Listen, they still gotta go back and deal with the fact that they need a drink, they need a shot. They need a little bit of cocaine to help them to function at work, right? Even after we've taken them through deliverance, even after we've labored on the altar, right? Even after we've done all of these things, we have to now still be able to deal with that stronghold, the perception, because they still have to go home to not having enough money. They still have to go home to the one that's paying the bills. Oh, y'all gonna catch a hold on today. So when I administer deliverance, right, I still need them to come back the next day because we need to talk about what is this going to look like now. We still have to talk about salvation. We still have to disciple them. Oh my God. Listen, we have to get them ready so that they will not be consumed or tormented by the doors that you just stuck a key in and unlocked. Because how many know that if I close my door right here, that there is still something behind the door? And so what you're looking at now is my money tree. That's a tree, right? It's a tree. If I close that door, the only thing that we are dealing with right now is what is currently inside of the room. And there are so many compartments on the inside of us that we have to deal with. There's so many different levels to this thing that we call deliverance. We have to confess so many things in order to walk a person out, to unpack everything that is locked up in the suitcase. Oh my God. Ooh, that thing is good to me. So listen, we have to be intentional on the maintenance. We want to make sure that we are helping them to deal with the after. That we are dealing with what is happening after they have experienced this level of deliverance. So listen, I know I said I was going to be on here for 30 minutes. I'm a little bit over time, but listen, I need you guys to share this. Next week, I'm going to be just talking more about the maintenance and what happens when we are going through these levels of deliverance, when we're going into a room and when we go in and unlock the door. And sometimes we go to the altar and we've been there for 30 and 45 minutes and we coughing and we throwing up and we spitting up and we're calling things out and we're saying, yes, God, yes, God. But then when we go home, we lay down and now we're being tormented because now you just triggered all of these things that happened to me that was regressed in my memory. It was locked up in the amygdala, the hippocampus. That is our emotional house, the place of memory, the limbic region. It was locked up in there. And now you just begin to unlock things and you sent me home. You've unlocked the door. You've opened it. And now everything that was behind the door is now coming to overtake me. It is tormenting me because all of these different levels and pieces are now coming for me. And so there has to be some level of release. So we have to be able to address those things just so that individuals will definitely know what we are experiencing or what we are currently dealing with. So listen, I am so excited that you guys came on tonight. Listen, this is Mental Health Matters month. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And this is the month that I really want you guys to be intentional. I want you to be intentional about making sure that you are doing things to create levels of sobriety in your mind. And there are things that we can do that will help to create oxygen in our brain. There are things that we can do that will help our dopamines to purify and to come in and begin to cleanse out our organs. Listen, during this month, I need you guys to I want you to summons the south wind. Listen, the south wind comes to rejuvenate. It comes to restore and resuscitate, right? It comes to revive. It comes to nourish. It comes to quench, right? It comes to quench the thirst. It comes to do all of those things. So I want you guys during this month to summons in that south wind. I want you to be intentional for 30 minutes out of the week. Some of you haven't done a 30-minute in 2, 3, 4 months, but I want you guys to be intentional. I want you to do 30 minutes of self-care. I don't care if that means that you take a glass, a cup of tea, and that you sit down and you just soak. I don't care if that means you just sit on your porch for 30 minutes and you just look at the cars walking by. I don't care if you just take 30 minutes and you don't answer the phone. You just cut the TV off and listen to your favorite song. I don't care if you just take 30 minutes and you begin to just draw and doodle pictures, hearts, and that you just write your name. And by your name, you write greatness is on the inside of me. I just need to show up. Listen, I just need you to be intentional. I need intentionality to hit your spirit on today. I decree and declare intentionality on during this month, that you find 30 minutes out of a week to be intentional about doing something that is connected to you, that's not connected to anybody else, that is connected to yourself. Care that is connected to finding and helping your mind, your brain find a place of sobriety where there is good, clean oxygen, that blood is flowing, that there is a level of stabilization, that your chemicals that are being released from the endocrine, from your hormones, that they are being stabilized. I decree that on this evening, that over these next 31 days, that there will be a stabilization, that these psychological triggers will malfunction. I declare that this is going to be the best 31 days of your life. So I need you guys to know, I need you to sit in that. I need you to sit in it. I need you to sit in it. I need you to say that this is going to be the best 31 days of my life. I need you to rest in it. I need you to meditate on that thing, because there is something called sobriety that is going to hit this atmosphere, and our mental acuities, our mental health, our mental IQs, our emotional health, our emotional intelligence, that they are going to stabilize, because deliverance is our birthright, you guys. It is our birthright, and the Lord is doing some things. And so, because we are in the decade of the pay, that is the mouth, where we have the ability to speak, we have the ability to release our sound. I need you guys to release in the atmosphere what the Lord has already said about you. I want you to be able to release the prosperity. I want you to be able to release everything that the Lord has promised you. I want you to go back and release. Some of you, for 30 minutes, you just need to go and listen to your prophetic words, because some of you guys are fat on prophetic words, but you need to now speak them into existence. You need to release it so that you can now collide with what has already been spoken over you. So listen, I am excited. And so listen, I want you guys to subscribe. I want you guys to hit the like. Listen, if you're coming in from my Soul Restoration International Ministries page, definitely hit the like. I want you guys to share this out to someone who you know need this. But what I want you to do is follow me. I have a lot of amazing things happening for the rest of this year. Listen, these last 2 quarters are going to be awesome and amazing. God is going to move. There's going to be a breaking, and God is going to deliver in 2023. Because in order for you to be in 2024 and run and do what God is calling you to do, you have to be free in your mind. So listen, I want you guys to partner with me. I am leaving to go out the country again. I'm having I am going to be doing a fundraiser for missions, and so I want you guys to partner, sow into this ministry. I'm going to drop it in the link. We have a lot of amazing things that are happening as it pertains to just Soul Restoration International Ministries and the things that we're going to be doing for the men and women over in the Dominican. We're going to be feeding. I will be sending over supplies, Pampers, socks, hygiene products. I'll be sending over, COVID kits, just things to keep them safe. I'll be sending over baby clothes and just different things for mothers or women who need assistance, who may have been trafficked, who are coming out of domestic violence, have nowhere to go. We're going to be having all of these things that are going to be helping them. So I would love for you all to definitely partner with me as I go over to the Dominican. Again, I'll be there for 3 months. So please share this out to your friends, families. Listen, I am looking for sponsors. And so if you know of anyone who would be a great sponsor for me for the Dominican, I am a 501c3. So I am looking for sponsors. So if you know of anyone, please drop it in my DM or drop it in the link. I do go back and look at just the things that you guys have said. But I am looking for sponsors for the trip. All righty. Well, it has been a pleasure with hanging out with you guys tonight. Listen, I love hacking, because the enemy, he don't have no power. And so what I know is that you can't take authority over something you don't have language to. So we have to roughly cut through. And how do we cut through? We cut through with the word, with our language, with our sound. So I love hacking. I love roughly cutting through things. And so I want you guys to continue to hack with me. And so continue to follow me and come in on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. But remember, for the month of May, we will be doing therapy at the altar on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. I will be having a guest speaker. Coach Kenji will be there this Tuesday, May 9th. And then Wednesdays, we will also have Deliverance Hacks. Listen, I love you guys, and you guys have an amazing evening. Bye-bye. And I do not own the rights to the music that you guys have been listening to. Let me say that again. I do not own the rights to the music that you have been listening to, but you have been listening to Release by Psalmist Rain. It is the Seekers edition. Release. Love you guys. Bye-bye.